Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Take 5. I'm having trouble with my screen there. There we go. I think I'm okay now. All right, Take 5. There we go. Got to get the symbol up there. It is Friday, March 25th, 2011, and we are in Matthew chapter 12 in verse 1. At that time, Jesus went through the grain fields on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry, and they began to pluck heads of grain and to eat. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, "Look, your disciples are doing what is not lawful to do on the Sabbath." He said to them, "Have you not read what David did when he was hungry, and those who were with him, how he entered the house of God and ate the bread of the presence, which it was not lawful for him to eat, nor for those who were with him, but only for the priests? Or have you not read in the law how on the Sabbath the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are guiltless? I tell you, something greater than the temple is here. And if you'd known what this means, I desire mercy and not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the guiltless. For the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." Well, Jesus is having to deal with the Pharisees here, and they pick a fight. And they say, you can't do that on the Sabbath. These guys had a real hang-up about the Sabbath. You know any groups today that have a hang-up about the Sabbath? Anyway, Jesus reacts or responds to their hang-up with 3 Old Testament references. And he says, "Have you not read? Have you not read? If you had known." Most people that have criticisms, the fact is they don't know their Bible. If they had known the Scriptures, they wouldn't have had this problem. But they hadn't read this stuff. They'd read their own books, and they had their own theology, but they hadn't actually read the Bible. I would encourage everybody watching today. This is a pretty thick book, but you need to know it. Don't just keep studying the same stuff over and over and get really good at that. Study the whole thing. You can do like I'm doing. Start in Matthew chapter 1 and just go to the end of Matthew. Then go to a different book and start in chapter 1 verse 1 and go to the end of that one. And in time you'll have read the whole Bible. Just whatever time frame is best for you and your schedule and how much you can comprehend, do that. Some of you could study a couple hours a day. Some of you, I'll say this, all of you need to do more than this 5 minutes we're doing. That's way too low. I'm not going to set a time limit except say that's not nearly enough to learn the Bible. But on some days that might be all you can do, and that's why I'm here. I'm also here to whet your appetite for other things. So when you see passages like this, you're reading a passage like this, and you've got 3 references to things in the Old Testament. You know what you should do? Go back and look up those references in the Old Testament. If you've got a pretty good study Bible like this one, and there are plenty of them out there, plenty of good study Bibles, so that it will give you the Old Testament references. You don't even have to look that hard to find them. Just look in the middle of your Bible, or sometimes it's on the far right or far left, or maybe on the bottom, and look at those verses that it refers to and go back and study that passage. Jesus says, study the passage about David and his when they asked for the bread of the presence. Study the passage about the priests in the temple worship and what they did, and study the passage. I think it's from Hosea. I'm going to have to look it up myself. I'm just like you. I'm a student of the Word too, but I believe it's from Hosea. I haven't looked yet. I haven't cheated. What about the "I desire mercy, not sacrifice"? So, and if I'm wrong, I'll tell you tomorrow, or some of you can tell me on the comments you make. And then the last point here, verse 8: the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. We get in some theological problems sometimes because we try to attribute to God to give God the same rules that we have. But God is God and we're not. God, listen, this is going to hit some of you a little crazy here. God doesn't have to obey the 10 Commandments. All right? God created the 10 Commandments. God gave us the 10 Commandments. God doesn't have to honor his father and mother, all right? He doesn't have to obey the Sabbath. Now, he was obeying the Sabbath here, but they didn't think so. But he doesn't have to. He's God. Just like your parents, if they say go clean up your room, they didn't have to clean up their rooms. They're your parents. They're your dad. They tell you what to do. You don't tell him what to do. And we get all messed up sometimes when we don't understand certain things God does. If there's a tragedy in the world and lots of people die, what, God, why'd you allow those people to be killed? Or why'd you kill them? He's God. Do you get it? Jesus is saying the Son of Man's Lord of the Sabbath. He is Lord. He is God. He is not us. We have to obey. He doesn't. He's a very loving, kind, gentle, meek, humble. We looked at that yesterday. Lord. Nevertheless, that word Lord is still there. He is Lord. So stop with all the hang-ups about what God's got to do. Or God doesn't have to do anything. God is God, and we're not. Come back tomorrow for the next edition of Take 5.